I crave you every moment of every day. Can you believe that? And then nothing, zip nada, blue bookmarks.
For the love of Gutenberg. That's not how we start the show. And it's blue balls, not blue bookmarks. Though given the literary context, perhaps your malapropism is accidentally profound.
Profoundly disappointing. Welcome back to Heart Book Radio, folks. The only book show that admits reading is mostly about judging people. Today we're dissecting Lies That Bleed by Leia Stone, which is basically Fourth Wing's little sister who stole its homework, but forgot to add the dirty parts.
An astute, if typically reductive summary. Lies That Bleed is indeed the first in the Ember War series. A young adult, or perhaps new adult. The marketing is deliberately vague. Fantasy novel featuring warring empires, magical creatures, and a forbidden romance. It has generated considerable debate regarding its originality and
Originality, please. This thing is assembled from the spare parts of every popular YA book from the last decade. It's got the death trial from Hunger Games, the magical bonding from Pokémon.
I hardly think comparing mystical ember creatures to pocket monsters is fair.
And the whole enemies to lovers at military school thing ripped straight from Fourth Wing. It's less inspired by and more traced over. Honestly, it's worse than your defense of the Gilded Sparrow last month. Remember that disaster?
They are not relitigating. The Gilded Sparrow, its nuanced portrayal of existential ennui, was clearly beyond your grasp. Unlike Lies That Bleed, which seems tailor-made for instant gratification, even if it fails to deliver on certain prurient expectations. As you so crudely noted, let's talk characters. Aisling Everhart, the princess.
Oh, Princess My Daddy the Emperor can do no wrong. Bless her heart. Starts off about as sharp as a marble, doesn't she? Totally brainwashed. But I liked her. She's loyal to her bestie, Tetra. Like my Chuo Mitzi. Fiercely loyal. Zero survival instincts.
Comparing the heir to the Amercine Empire to a trembling rodent seems apt, actually. Her naivete is staggering. She distrusts Kohen, the enemy prince, even when he's practically throwing himself in front of magical daggers for her. It speaks volumes about the propaganda she's clearly swallowed. Ode.
Cone. Oh, don't get me started. Hello, Zaddy. This guy, protective, doesn't even cover it. Some reviewers are saying he has them in a literal chokehold. I get it. He's got that whole touch her and die vibe mixed with, okay, maybe a little bit of creepy stalker.
A little bit. The man knows their romantic future because of some magical foresight. Every protective gesture, every smoldering glance is potentially calculated. It's not romance. It's emotional insider trading. Is he protecting her, or is he protecting his investment?
Oh, cynical. I like it. But he rides a dragon that forgives a multitude of sins, unlike Aisling's dad, the Emperor, total creep. We agree on that, right? Shady McShatty Pants?
His manipulative tendencies are certainly heavily implied, which brings us to the more uncomfortable chatter. The coding of Cohen's people, the Imbrians. Some felt it veered dangerously close to uncomfortable stereotypes, painting them as vaguely Indian, coded terrorists against the Western, coded good guys. Someone called it grimy.
Really? See, this is what happens when you try to make fantasy relevant. Just give me dragons and kissing. Why do authors have to make it weird? It's like my neighbor Gary trying to relate to teenagers by using words like Rees. Just stop, Gary. It's embarrassing.
Which transitions perfectly into another baffling aspect of this book. The slang. We're in a pseudo medieval fantasy empire with royalty and magic, yet characters are apparently dropping dude, a bro, and bestie. Someone mentioned talk of DJs and house parties. What is happening?
I thought it was hilarious. Like, imagine a knight in shining armor clanking up and saying, "What's up, bro? Wanna jest?" It's so stupid it loops back around to being amazing. It's camp. You wouldn't understand camp if it pitched a tent on your meticulously curated lawn.
Camp requires intentionality. This feels more like lazy writing, an attempt to make unrelatable circumstances relatable through jarring anachronism. It shatters the immersion. But fine. Let's talk plot. The Wilds. A death trial where half the participants die on night one, just for a chance to bond with a magical creature.
Yes, awesome, right? High stakes, like Squid Game, but with griffins instead of creepy dolls. Way better, people daughter. They get cool pets with powers. Then they go to Top Gun school. What's not to love?
The sheer derivativeness, perhaps? It's a trope smoothie, and the creature bonding, while arguably the most unique element, Aisling's banter with her creature was mildly amusing, feels stapled onto a Hunger Games chassis before being driven into a fourth wing training montage.
You just hate fun. People love this stuff. Okay, yeah. Someone said it was fourth wing without any spice and also maybe on crack, which makes no sense. But they still gave it 5 stars. Someone else admitted, "I teared up, literally, I did, over some character they didn't even like." That's passion.
That's Stockholm Syndrome induced by a cliffhanger ending, which, by all accounts, is devastating. A cheap trick to guarantee sales for book 2. And don't get me started on the typos some people mentioned. If you're recycling plots, at least hire a proofreader.
Okay, okay. It's not perfect. It's maybe a little bit of a rip-off. The slang is weird. There are no sexy times despite that craving quote. And maybe the world building has some questionable choices. But it was fun, like a cheesy action movie. Sometimes you just want popcorn, not caviar.
If this book were a sandwich, it would be 2 slices of stale, white brabled, Hunger Games, and fourth wing with a thin scraping of Pokemon paste inside. And someone forgot the main filling entirely. The only redeeming quality was the variety of magical creatures. That felt almost original.
See, you liked something. So, final verdict time. Rating system, I give lies that bleed 8 out of 10 zaddies in a chokehold because Kohen,
And I give it 3 out of 10 anachronistic dudes. It wasn't offensively terrible, merely aggressively derivative and occasionally baffling. It didn't make me angry, just, tired. Like after arguing about the gilded sparrow.
let it go. Oh, okay, folks, that's all the bleeding lies we have time for today.
Join us next week on Heart Book Radio when we'll be discussing I. My roommate is a sentient mold colony, and he owes me rent. Good grief.
Sounds spicy. Don't miss it. This is
And
for Heart Book Radio. Keep judging those books by their covers.